Thank you all for coming and welcome to the 2018 Channahon State of the Village. Before I get started, I have a couple of thank yous. First to Big Bash Catering for what I hear wonderful things about this breakfast. I've never actually eaten it, but it looks beautiful and I hear that it's wonderful. So thank you for the breakfast. And our elected officials here today, I do not have a complete list, so I'm sorry, but I would, if you could raise your hand if you're an elected official. I see county representatives, county officials, board members, our county executive, library board, and school districts, and our neighboring villages and cities. So thank you all for being here today. I appreciate your interest and your dedication to the village of Channahon. Nicole Norris, who is back here hiding behind her own little podium, who was the absolute do-all be-all in putting together this PowerPoint presentation. Could not do this without her, so thank you, Nicole. I appreciate all of your hard work. Letty Anselm, who is our administrative assistant, and Jean Chuddy, who is right here at the front table today, who put together this wonderful event, so thank you very much. Jean is serving dual roles here today, but we'll get to that later. And village staff. I couldn't do this job, and this village wouldn't look anywhere near as good as it does if it wasn't for our very talented, professional, dedicated staff. So we have lots of staff here today, Public Works office staff, our department heads. Thank you all for being here, and thank you all for all that you do for the village of Channahon throughout the year. Grundy Chamber of Commerce, Christina, I don't know where she wandered off to. There she is. And her staff for putting this together and sponsoring this for us again this year. I appreciate you. And our color guard, who didn't come back in the room, I don't think, for bringing our flags in this morning. It's always, they are always very professional and austere about it, and I appreciate that. Max Country Market is one of our new businesses, and they donated all of our centerpieces today, so thank you to Max Country Market for that. And Letty asked me how I was going to raffle off the centerpieces, and I said, so this is a project for you all during the course of this State of the Village. Whoever has the next upcoming birthday at your table gets to take the centerpiece home. I may be in luck. Larry, yours is already passed. Brock's is April 4th, so I might get that one. I don't know what you two guys are. So I may have the hookup. So whoever, at the end of the program, whoever has the next birthday at your table gets to take the centerpiece home. Mayor Pat Brennan of Minooka, who was kind enough again to bring me a corsage. He has always, I am very fortunate our towns are so intertwined, and we share school districts and boundaries and intersections and fire districts. And I am so fortunate to have such a wonderful colleague and friend in Mayor Pat Brennan. And he always hooks me up with the purple corsage. So he's fantastic. Thank you, Pat. And I'm very happy. My son Brock, my oldest, who's very embarrassed right now, is home on leave from the Air Force. So he is here with me today. So thank you, Brock. We have had a wonderful year in Channahon. We have been very fortunate. We have numerous awards, numerous Safest City awards, and I attribute that to not only our police department and our philosophy of community policing, but to our residents and business owners as well. We all play a part in this together. We achieved second Safest City in the state of Illinois, and so we're very proud of that and very happy about it. We are also the second healthiest housing market in the state of Illinois, which is a huge thing, and we are coming back, and I'll get into those numbers a little bit later. We did a lot. When I say a lot, I mean a lot more houses in 2017 than we had in numerous preceding years. So we'll get to those numbers in a little bit. We are also the 13th best place to raise a family in the state of Illinois. I'm not sure who the other 12 are, and I would argue that position, but we'll take 13th for now, and we have some room to grow. And for 14 years in a row, a tribute to our finance department. Heather Wagenblatt, our department director, finance department director, is here today, and this is the 14th year in a row. They received a certificate of achievement for excellence in financial reporting. So we're very proud of all of those accomplishments. And our achievements as the village are victories for us all. And you'll hear me talk today a lot about progress and preservation. Progress, and I know you've all probably heard me say this a million times before, you either grow or you die, and there are no other alternatives. Towns progress or they wither away. We have had the good fortune in the last couple of years of placing ourselves in a position where we are ready to progress, and we are moving in that direction. And there's a delicate balance between progress and preserving this small town that we have. So we have worked very hard with thoughtful, well-placed development. And I think hopefully, we're doing a good job of progressing while still maintaining our nice little small town. So moving forward, we are all in this together. And I've said this a million times before too. This isn't just about the village. This is about all of our partners and how we all progress together. And that means all of the taxing districts that work with us and our neighboring villages and neighboring cities and the counties and everybody who helps us to do the things that we do. And so we are blessed with numerous dedicated community partners. I want to thank our Board of Trustees. I have a couple of them here today. Chantel Host and Mark Skaggs are here today from our Channahon Village Board of Trustees. Raise your hands. There they are. I have the good fortune of having a board who truly has at heart the best interest of the village of Channahon, the entire village, our residents, and where we're going. And we have a common goal. And while we don't necessarily always agree on how we're getting there, our goal and our intentions are always the same. So I am blessed to have all of them. And our village clerk, Kristen Hall, who came on board this year. Kristen was Brock's babysitter when he was a baby. That's what happens when my baby's here. Kristen was Brock's babysitter, and she has children of her own now, and she was appointed to be our village clerk to fill a vacancy this year, and so she'll be up for re-election here very shortly. Our Planning and Zoning Commission here, I know there are some. Karen Serlette is our our Planning and Zoning Commission Department Chair. Also sitting on our Planning and Zoning Commission is Ricky Gray, Casey McCollum, Jim Profit, John Sargent, Jeff Simon, and Dennis Sullivan. They have a very difficult job. Before anything gets to the board for approval, it goes through the Planning and Zoning Commission, and they have to take a look at whether a project is appropriate for us, for where we're putting it. They do a lot of the heavy lifting, and then they make a recommendation to the board. So I appreciate everybody on our Planning and Zoning Board. Again, they have the best interest of Channahon at heart. They are all residents here, and I appreciate all that they do for us. We have many noteworthy events this past year with our community partners. Right here at this building, we have the Smithsonian Waterways exhibit. And the Smithsonian came to Channahon, and when I spread that news around, we had a lot of buy-in from our other community partners. Our school district in particular was very wonderful, and the art teacher rearranged her lesson plans so that all of the art, the children's art, was water-themed. And in this picture down here, I always have a back hallway at the Village Hall dedicated to student art. There's always art there. I think that it's important to give our young people a place to display their work. So all of their work was water-themed during the Smithsonian exhibit. And our staff also did demonstrations of how rainwater and runoff works. So we had a lot of good things going on in relation to that exhibit. We also had the Pink Heels Walk. This was our third year. It gets bigger and better every year. Pink Heels is a charity dedicated to terminal illness. Everybody associates pink with breast cancer, but they are not exclusively breast cancer. They are dedicated to serving all people with terminal illnesses. So we have a fun 5K walk, and it's on Mother's Day morning, very early, so you can do all your Mother's Day plans. And my boys, not just this one, but this one did not wear it. He wasn't here the tutu year, but my two younger ones were wonderful enough to wear tutus. But I get everybody dressed up in pink, and we all do the Mother's Day walk together. That is my gift and what I asked for Mother's Day. Just do the Mother's Day walk with me. So we're anticipating that coming up. We have a lot of wonderful donors and sponsors, and that is coming up on May 13th, starting again at the Village Hall and looping back around there. Our Memorial Day event, our ceremony, is one of my very favorites. The color guard there is there and presents the colors, and Little Miss Channahon comes and presents the flowers, and the scouts are there to lead the flag raising and the Pledge of Allegiance, and our junior high band comes out and plays patriotic music. It is one of my favorite events because we get to honor our veterans. And not just the veterans who are there, but those who have fallen. And Memorial Day is truly about remembering those who are no longer there. So we invite all of our members of the service up to accept our gratitude on behalf of their fellow soldiers. We also have National Night Out, which is a lot of fun and has gotten bigger and better every year. We always have live music there. Sometimes our retired chief, Jeff Wold, has sat in with, his band has played before, but he's also sat in with the band. And we also have a car show there, and that continues to get bigger. We have a lot of stuff going on. And do we have a date on that, Shane? Do we know? We don't. All right. It's coming up, July-ish. Yes, July-ish. Then we also have Three Rivers Fest in the parade. I was here long enough to remember when it was the Channahon Carnival, and it was in the middle of the old part of town, and it has come a long way since then. It is a huge event and draws people from all over the place now, and the parade route had to change last year because it was so long that it looped around on itself, and so things changed a little bit, so we're getting bigger and better. Warrior Dash was out at Dollinger's for the last several years, and I've been told by Mrs. Dollinger that last year was the last year for Warrior Dash. They won't be coming back this year, so we all have that to look forward to. Whatever the Dollingers come up with next, I'm sure it will be memorable. And then we started a couple years ago our Veterans Day Wall of Honor, and we have that for the entire month of November in our Village Hall lobby, and we have invited all of our local veterans and members of our armed services, current members, to submit their pictures and some information about themselves. So we like to leave that up there to thank all of our military members. And Shanna Holidays. Nicole works very, very hard on this, and this event has expanded. It started out as just sort of a theme, and we have all of our partners, the high school madrigals, come out and sing, and the Girl Scouts come out and sing. And this year we had a very special guest who turned out to be very popular. The man in the middle there was our life-size elf on the shelf who took the state bicentennial flag, and a bunch of children chased him down. And we got the flag back, so we had a life-size elf on the shelf this year. We also have Mr. and Mrs. Claus. And Three Rivers Library partners with us every year on this, and I see Lauren Offerman there in the crowd, so thank you very much. We appreciate all that you do with us and for the good of our community. And then our tree lighting ceremony culminates with the lighting of our Christmas tree. So our Public Works in Channahon Township and Channahon Tractor and Crane, that's my business plug for my brother, they donate their time. And the Sirlett family, Gary and Susan, donated the tree this year. So we have a big crane, and it puts it up in the traffic circle near the Village Hall. And we have Little Miss Channahon. That's one of her events. She gets to light the tree. And our home decorating contest, we have first, second, and third places, and we have everything from musical accompaniment to classical and understated. One of my favorite programs that I started a couple years ago was Job Shadow Day. I think that it is incredibly important that we get young people involved and get them involved early. Chief? Your son Dylan, oh, there he is. Chief Justin Meyer from Minooka, whose children go to Channahon School. Every year, and a few years ago, I called Superintendent Nick Henkel, and I said, do you think we can do this? I would like to have a Job Shadow Day. I want to get young people involved. I want them to be community-minded and feel responsibility to the community that they live in. So I called him and I said, do you think we can do something like this? And he put me in touch with the social studies teacher, Ted Martin, who has been a wonderful partner in this. And every year, Ted comes out with the student council, the junior high student council members, and the student council president gets to be me for the day, and we have several staff members. The first year we planned it for 2 hours, and we kind of did an overview of what goes on in the village. We wanted to split out with individual members and then come together. And the overwhelming response from staff was that we didn't have enough time with the kids, which which surprised me because I thought, what are we going to do with these kids for 2 hours, right? But so the last couple of years, we have had it be a day-long event now. They are there till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then they come back for our board meeting that night. They get to sit in the big chairs, and they get to act as the mayor and village board, and they pass a resolution that they created during the day. So they are, and the board, the true board members vote on that as well. So there is an actual resolution on the books every year for our Job Shadow Day, and Dylan Meyer signed it last year. Little Miss Channahon, this is another one of those community involvement things, and we've had a Little Miss Channahon for years and years, and I wanted to expand that role and get another young person involved in the community. So she always had the parade and the Memorial Day event and the Christmas tree lighting, and I thought, why would I not invite her to go along to ribbon cuttings and things like that with me? So she comes to ribbon cutting. She likes the big scissors from the Chamber of Commerce. Those are a lot of fun, and they are sharp. And this past year, this particular Little Miss Channahon, Daisy Musser, has an about personality up to about here. So she has been a lot of fun, and I gave her the opportunity to speak publicly. So she is, the bottom center photo was her with her notes, and she was speaking publicly for the first time. She did a wonderful job. This is a near and dear of it's not even an event, it's a memorial that we have coming to Channahon. It'll be located in the Channahon State Park. It is the only one of its kind in the country. It is a Forgotten Warrior Memorial. It is dedicated to those soldiers who have lost their lives to PTSD. And that is one of those injuries that is hard to define and hard to see. And so this memorial, they came to us, and the state park, the state agreed to let them locate it there. It will be dedicated to all of the branches of service and all of those soldiers who lost their lives to PTSD. They had the flag raising for this memorial on August 5th of last year, and they are continuing to collect funds to put up the stone sculptures that will ultimately collect it. It is circular in nature. Reggie from Canines for Veterans Warriors is here today with her service dog. If anybody has any questions about this memorial, she would be happy to answer those after the program. And one special note on that, Ozinga, there's several people from Ozinga here today. There we go, there's another one sitting back there. Ozinga generously donated $5,000 to the Veterans Memorial in the state park. So thank you to Ozinga. So I know you all hear me talk about the importance of community partners. And that's not just our businesses or our elected officials. The residents truly, truly are the heart of this. So every year, we give out the Amos Hayes Citizen of the Year Award. And I have to stop here for a second because Letty told me that I have to make sure that I tell everybody, all of the award winners today, there are no pictures until after the program because it just slows it down and they're not good pictures anyway. So whoever's winning an award today, after the program, you have to stay afterwards. That's my public service announcement from Letty. So our Citizen of the Year is a resident who embodies what it means to be a community partner. She's going to make me cry. Don't look at me. Nobody does that better than our own Tina Lentz. She is always ready to lend a hand and get involved. She is caring and kind, and she always does everything she does with a smile. Tina has one son, Daniel, who's here with her today, and she works at Dr. Salud's Complete Comfort Dental in Channahon. She is also my partner in purple. Thank you very much. Tina's involved in just about everything. For the village alone, she sits on our tree board, has for several years. She is on our first graduating class from our Citizens Police Academy and sits on our alumni board for Citizens Police Academy. She is also a member of our police commission. She's one of our police commissioners. So she is involved in a lot of stuff with the village alone. Outside of that, in her spare time, she is also a member of the Lions Club and won the Lions Member of the Year award last year. What else, Tina? Oh, she's Gardening Angels. She's a gardener. 3 Three Rivers Fest Committee. I think that's the only one I forgot. And she's the mother of 3 dogs as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Tina Lentz, our Citizen of the Year. I'm going to give you this, but we'll take pictures after. Would you like to say anything?
No, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I promised her I wouldn't make her speak for 8 minutes, but go ahead.
I just want to thank Channahon. I love living here. I've been here since 2001, and like I told my husband, you got to get involved, and
he did as well.
And he did too. Yeah, he was commissioner before me. So, and I have my lovely sister here, and my friend Jackie, and my son, of course, who stands behind me whenever I run in the house and run back out and say, "I'm going to a meeting. I'll be back. I'm going to the meeting. I'll be back. Please let the dogs out." So, thank you, everyone. I was just honored when Missy called me. So. Thank you. Thank you.
So now we will move on to our department heads and what we have going on at the village. And as I said before, staff takes very good care of me. They are impressive and talented and professional bunch of people. And I truly believe that there's no way that I could do this job without them. I have said I don't have all of the answers, but I am smart enough to surround myself with people who know more than I do, and these people definitely know more than I do. So I'm pleased and grateful and thankful to have all of you at the village. We have Tom Durkin as our village administrator. Raise your hand. And Mike Petrick, our community development director. Heather Wagenblad is our finance director. Ed Dolezal is our public works director. There you are. And Shane Casey, over here. Shane Casey is our police chief. And there'll be more on that later. Shane's going to have a couple of words to say today. So this has been a very exciting development year for us. With Mike Petrick at the helm, this has been a banner year for community development. We had 106 new residential housing permits last year and 1 commercial industrial permit. While that doesn't sound like a huge number, that is the most we have had in the last 10 years. And not just the last 10 years, but the last 10 years combined. We had $65.12 million in new construction value last year. So from our low point of 3 permits a year in 2011 and 2012, we have made a huge comeback. And again, we are the second healthiest housing market in the state of Illinois, and those numbers show it. We had, again, like I said, we had more permits, 1 more, in 2017 than we had in 2018 through 2016 combined. And 2018 is off to a good start. In the first 2 months, we have had 2.5 times more housing permits than we had last year at this time. So things look to progress, and Mike's estimates are top end 175 maybe, or somewhere in the middle. Somewhere between the 106 we had last year and the 175 if we continue at the rate we are. New construction has been dormant in subdivisions. We had a lot of platted lots that were not built upon for years. So those are being filled now. Copperleaf subdivision and the villas of Ravine Woods are filling up, and also the villas at Keating Point. Core Homes came in with a revised townhome plan. They are doing some detached single family on smaller lots. So for lack of a better term, they are a detached townhome with an association that takes care of the outsides of the building and the smaller yards. And so we're looking to provide a lifelong housing market everywhere from you can grow up here as a child, you can find a home here to purchase as your first home, you can move up as your career progresses, and then as you're a senior, if you want to downsize, we want to have that available too. We want people to be able to live here and stay here throughout their life. We also have some online things to help market online housing information. We use social media and links on our website. So if anybody's looking for housing information, they can find it. Our population projections, we are just over 13,000-ish now, and we look to be somewhere in the 14,000 range by 2020. I like that number specifically because it's not huge. It is controlled and thoughtful growth. When a town grows so fast that they are overwhelmed by their population, it makes everything else difficult. So thoughtful industrial and residential growth, all of that helps us along the way. So adding 1,000 new people is not a huge number, and I like the way that looks. St. Elizabeth residences, this is one of the things I was talking about. This is our senior residence. They began occupancy in 2017, and there is a waiting list. They are 62 and over, and they are located right next to the Village Hall, 4 buildings. They are looking at building more buildings because there is a need for it and a desire for it. So we're glad to have them. And we also updated our building codes recently, but we are still one of the most affordable regions for new housing in the state of Illinois. And again, the second healthiest housing market in the state. We saw many new businesses and expansions. I'm not going to read all of them, but again, Max Country Market, who was kind enough to donate the tables, the centerpieces on the tables, and don't fight over them. We all know when your birthdays are. Pesciolino Osteria opened up a new restaurant this past fall, and I'll talk more about that later. If you haven't been there, go. It's my fave. Riverhawk Brewing, we have a brewery. It has turned out to be very popular, and it's a very nice place. Aspire Center for Positive Change also opened, and Country Glazed Donuts. I know Trustee Host had a picture on Facebook last week of her Country Glazed Donuts. Very nice. Hush Salon is a new hair salon. They just recently opened their doors and have a ribbon cutting coming up. And one of our bigger expansions this year was Channahon Lanes. They have been in business for 30 years and put in a miniature golf outside this year to expand their business and give young people things to do. So we are grateful for all of those. We've had several ribbon cuttings. Home builders, Blackjack Builders, MI Homes, Aspire was Daisy got to use the big scissors and cut the ribbon, and CIBC Bank, she also helped me on that one. There's CIBC Bank members are here today. I'm back there, I see them. Thank you very much for coming out. And then Venture One was an October ribbon cutting. They are 1 million plus square feet on Route 55 or I-55, hard to miss them. They're an industrial complex and they have other buildings planned. But this development in particular is one that I'm very proud of in terms of the village of Channahon and our community partners. This particular development allowed us to put in $10 million in public infrastructure. That's road improvements and water main and turn lanes and intersections and traffic signals. They have played a huge part in that, and we could not have done that without all of our community partners. All of the taxing bodies that were affected by where this building is, that is county and JJC and all of our local school districts and our library districts and township, everybody. We had 11 taxing bodies who agreed with us that we could work together and make this happen, and that allows us to, nobody likes the truck traffic. Nobody likes truck traffic, but having this kind of industrial development where it helps us to put in that public infrastructure helps us to handle that traffic better. So the buy-in from all of our community partners and all of the local taxing bodies made this possible. And breast cancer research is one of my favorite causes. So at this October ribbon cutting, I did mention it. And Venture One and Clayco were kind enough to donate $5,000 each toward cancer research as well. So they want to be good community partners with us as well. And along with Venture One, we just recently approved on Monday the Ridgeline Property Group. That'll be I don't want to say small because 440,000 square feet is not small, but in the scope of million square foot industrial complexes, this one's smaller. This one is also going to help us put in infrastructure in terms of traffic signals and water main extension. So we're happy to have them on board as well. And Channahon Corporate Center is the first one that we put in. It is at the eastern terminus of Bluff Road along I-55, and they just got their first tenant, XPO Logistics. So we got a bunch of Weber grills down in Bluff Road. If anybody wants to cook out later, we're good to go. This project, and again with our community partners and all of the taxing bodies, helped us to put in $4 million in infrastructure improvements at the Bluff Road and I-55 interchange. And that is to improve turn radii and signal the ramps so that we can better accommodate the truck traffic. And we have some very exciting news. I'm very excited about this. We haven't had one in well over a decade. We got a grant from CMAP to do a comprehensive plan. We were one of 34 projects chosen by CMAP, only 3 of which are in Will County. And Housel Levine will begin this year on this long process, year-long process. We wanted stakeholder information, and I know that I've already talked to Minooka because, as I said, our villages are so intertwined that we cannot separate them. What affects us affects them, and that's true of all our surrounding communities, but particularly with us in Minooka, we are so closely intermixed that we have to talk with one another and develop in conjunction with one another so that we don't run each other over or hurt each other. So I want numerous areas of development. We're looking at everything from village identity to residential to industrial, from transportation to natural resources, and I want a cross-section of our entire demographic. I would like to get a junior in high school because this is a year-long project, and that will encompass that student's entire senior year, but I want the input from young people all the way to seniors, from the far west end of our village to the east end of our village, and our local business owners to people who commute to their jobs out of here. So I want broad participation because I believe we are all stakeholders in this, and it matters what we all want this town to look like. I know what I want it to look like. I know I'm not the do-all, end-all, be-all, so I don't always have all of the answers, and if I'm wrong, I want someone to tell me that I'm wrong. So I want everybody's input, as much input as we can get. So this is going to be a very long, very arduous process sometimes, but we are looking for a lot of community input and stakeholder input from this as well. So here's what we're looking for, development-wise, 2017 and then some. Residential, we think, will primarily be focused on the Grundy County side of our village because that is where our open property is right now. We also have a couple of new industrial starts in the works, and we also have some retail looking around. That is a difficult market. As everybody knows, e-commerce is getting more and more popular as time goes by, and if projections are anywhere near correct, 50% of the commerce by 2025, Mike? By 2025, they're estimating if it continues to grow at the rate it is, 25 or 50% of retail purchasing will be e-commerce. Brick and mortar stores are a tough sell, but that opens up some room for some interstate commerce areas and maybe some, sit-down restaurants, things like that you can't get online. That brings me to our very next one, our Fred Riddoff George Sparagus Business of the Year. We give this award every year to a business who believes in our community. This is a good place, and we want it to stay a good place. We appreciate the businesses who invest in improving our community for everyone involved. This year, our Business of the Year is Big Bash Catering and Events, who catered our breakfast this morning. They are our 2018 Fred Riddoff George Sparagus Business of the Year. They are not just, John is not just a caterer. He also has several restaurants, 2 of which are in Channahon, which makes me very, very happy. And John and Maura are the owners of Big Fish Grill on Harborside, that is also in our municipal boundaries, Morris Chop Shop in Morris, and Pesciolino Osteria, the new Italian restaurant that they opened last September, John, end of September? End of September. They believe so strongly in our community that they have 2 restaurants within our municipal limits. John opened Big Fish Grill in 2008 and has since grown to the 3 restaurants. And I love his naming scheme because we have in Channahon Big Fish and Pesciolino, which means little fish in Italian. And so we're working on 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish, and juice it up a little. Pesciolino makes their own pasta and their own fresh mozzarella, and as John will attest, the octopus is my favorite, so if you haven't been there, try the octopus. John and Maura believe in their team, and they encourage creativity and quality, and a company of this size offering health benefits to their employees is nearly unheard of, and yet they do. They are chef-driven, and they use quality, natural, and organic ingredients. I don't want to say that it's big city dining experience in a little town. I want to say that John Matthias has put Channahon on the dining map. People should come here just to go there. John also sits on the JJC Culinary Program Advisory Board. So I want to congratulate John and Maura Matthias on our 2018 Fred Riddoff, George Sparagus Business of the Year. Are you coming up? You can come up in your chef whites. I had to make him work. I couldn't just give him an award. I had to put him to work as well. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Anything to say? Anything to add?
I think we're very proud to be part of the community, and we'll continue to grow in the right way. You know, my team and my staff is really what makes our business work. It has very little to do with me personally. You know, we're a small group of, now it's 75 people, but you know, 2008, 2009, we opened in a beat-up building on a marina, in the wintertime, in the worst economic downturn we've had in probably most of our lifetimes. And, you know, we fought our way through some really rough times. So, you know, things are improving, and we're growing as a company, and we're very proud to accept this. And I will share with us my rest of my team. So thank you very much.
You also have to love John's humility when he says that it has very little to do with him. I met with him last week, and he said that very same thing. It is about his team, and it has very little to do with him. And I said, that's nice. They may be the symphony, but someone's the conductor, and John is the conductor of that symphony. So thank you. Sorry, Nicole, that was totally ad-libbed, and you're probably like, where is she? Heather Wagenblad is our finance director. She has shown wonderful leadership and fiscal responsibility. She is a big part of why we are in the financial position we are in right now. And that's a good one, so just so everybody's aware. Sorry, I didn't want people to think otherwise. Things are looking up for us. We have, as I said earlier in the program, 14 years of certificates of achievement in financial reporting. So we are very proud of that and proud of Heather and her department, who is sitting with her, as a matter of fact. We have a very happy revenue outlook, and it is improving. I'm very happy to say that our general revenue is up about 14% over last year, and our expenses were down 3%. So I attribute that to a whole bunch of factors. Heather and her no pen, whenever anybody asks for anything, she truly has a pen that says no. So a couple of a conservative approach that she takes, and that staff is very cognizant of their expenses, and our board is very conservative about how we spend money. So I think that helped us to weather the low point in the economy, and things are looking up for us, so I'm very happy to say that. Our general fund balance is up. That looks like a lot. I mean, it is a lot. But we're still in the 10 million, so we'd like to get in the 20s. Just a little thing. No, it is up, and we're very happy. It has climbed over last year as well. And our sales tax has risen about 25%, actually. So that is $400,000 in additional revenue in sales tax. So we're very proud of our businesses, because they are what makes that, and all of the things that we have done to make that happen at the village as well. Our positive trends continue, and our property values continue to increase. We also enjoy a AA2 bond rating, so when it comes time to issue those bonds, when we need to make public infrastructure that we can't pay for out of pocket, we enjoy a lower borrowing rate. Heather has also completed the first 2 years of the Illinois Municipal Treasurers Association training, so in the next 12 to 18 months, she will be a certified Illinois Municipal Treasurer. And congratulations to you. And we look forward to continuing growth in the village. Our Public Works Director, Ed Dolzal, is one of our longtime department heads. Thank you, Ed. He has had a very, very busy year as well. All that development stuff that Mike starts Ed has to work on. So, and then he's got projects of his own as well. One of his biggest projects is our wastewater treatment expansion. That will be expanded to 1.4 million gallons per day. That is about double our size that we have currently, and it's an $8.6 million project. So Strand is somewhere. There they are. They're doing the engineering on that, so thank you very much. Our Public Works engineer, Don Kinsler, does our road maintenance program and rating system. We do 82.2 center line miles of roadway, and that is up 4.6% from last year alone. So our town is growing, our maintenance program is growing, everything, our responsibilities are growing, and yet our financial picture looks good. So I'm very happy with all of that. Our proposed road maintenance budget for 2018 is over $850,000, and it will improve 25 miles of roadway in several subdivisions and numerous streets. They are also responsible for infrastructure improvement and development engineering plan review. It's been a very busy year. One more, Nicole. There you go. Dove Drive has become, it used to be a tiny little neighborhood street with no curbs, no gutters, not wide enough. It has become a major arterial road from Route 6 through the back subdivisions. So we are in phase 2, which is creating the bidding documents for that project, that it will be widened and improved. We also, one of our big wins was an ITEP grant for $680,000+ to put in a bike path. We are always looking for alternate transportation and connectors. This particular plan takes us from what we have in the middle of town to what we have on the far west, and it is an important connector so we can get people in healthier means of transportation and less pollution and safer roadways, and we certainly don't want them riding their bikes down the edge of Route 6. We also have a water main extension from our water tower up on Bluff Road going east across 55, and that is to serve the industrial complexes over there. The US 6 and East Frontage Road signal design is coming up. This was one of my absolute pet projects. I thought this was so important. We have that new interchange that the state funded at I-55 and Route 6, and they rerouted the frontage roads east and west, and there was a signal installed at the west side frontage road. They didn't think that a signal was warranted at the east side frontage road because traffic counts weren't there. So there was a lot of arguing back and forth and cajoling and meetings with IDOT, and we got them to consider what the 5-year projection was going to be. And so while they did not fund this light, they did say that we could do it. So we are working on with ESI consultants right now on designing of that interchange and the signal lights there. And those industrial developments that I talked about and the infrastructure improvement that they are allowing us to put in, that's who's paying for this signal. So we are happy to have that for the improved safety of all of our residents. Bluff Road interchange, as I said, we're doing $4 million roughly in improvements at that interchange as well, and that is to improve the turn radii and signal those ramps so that we can better handle truck traffic as well. Our Public Works Department also, anybody who knows me knows that I am an avid gardener and a bit of a tree hugger, so Arbor Day is one of my favorite things. We always plant a tree. This year's tree was in memory of William G. Costel, and Sergeant Dan Costel is over here. So we have a tree walk outside of the Village Hall, and every year we plant a tree out there on Arbor Day. And while we plant trees on Arbor Day, we are removing, as everybody knows, the emerald ash borer is a huge problem. We removed 320 trees in community partnership with our township, who has a lovely stump grinder that they are kind enough to let it. We put more hours on it than they have, right, Ed? Thank you. We have a long way to go. There are 3,000-ish ash trees, so obviously we have years of this coming up, but we do have a tree replacement program that citizens can partake in to replace the trees in their parkway. Then one of our exciting things this year, our Police Chief Shane Casey. I am very proud of our professional and accredited department, and our philosophy of community policing has made us what we are. And that second safest city designation in the state of Illinois is huge. And that comes from years of community policing and the relationships that we build. I ran into the, number one, by the way, was Western Springs, and I ran into the mayor in Washington, D.C. a couple of weeks ago, and I told her I was going to come to her town and cause a little trouble, because I got a little place to, I got a little room to move up. I'm not sure she wanted me to come, but whatever. This past year, and as everybody knows, our former police chief, Jeff Wold, retired this past December. Jeff has been a very long-time friend. I met him when he and Shane both actually started on our department years, well, a little bit apart from one another, but years and years ago when I was on the fire department, I met Jeff. And when I was elected mayor, it was never, ever my intention to appoint a new police chief. But Jeff came to me, and I know that he has aspirations beyond that position, and he had the years in. And so I was not completely blindsided when he said that he had decided to retire. It was a very bittersweet decision for him, and bittersweet news for me as well. Like I said, was never my intention. I was very happy with our police chief and our police department, but I do know that I'm happy for Jeff, and I know that he aspires to other things. So, Jeff, and he got some really cool drum covers. Go back one more slide, Nicole. He got some really cool drum covers because he is a drummer. So, and while he sits in with the band, that was one of his things he got. We also saw the retirement this year of Dan McDonald, who was our community service officer and an ambassador of goodwill in the village. He had a multitude of jobs all over the place. We gained 2 new officers this year, Mike Lieberman and AJ DiStefano. And then I'm going to talk just a little bit about the appointment of Chief Casey. Shane has been with our department for 22 years. And can I say that you had hair then? Because look at that card. That was his trading card way back in the day. I always said that it would be my druthers to appoint from within, but I thought that it was important that we go through the interview process. I didn't want to just appoint someone because they had been here long enough. We had 38 applicants, and that is a huge showing for a town this size. I'm pleased to say that many people wanted to come and work here. So we did go through an interview process. I had several people on that interview committee with me. Retiring Chief Wold was on it, Tom Durkin, our village administrator, our HR person, and Deputy Chief Adam Bogart. My thinking with Adam was that whoever we hired, Adam was going to be the person who worked most closely with the new chief on a day-to-day basis. So I needed it to be somebody that he was comfortable with and confident in. And in our conversations, Adam could not have been more supportive or confident in Shane's ability to take on this role. So I was happy to appoint Chief Shane Casey on 2 days after Jeff officially retired. So Shane was acting chief for a whopping 2 days, and then he was sworn in. And so I'm going to let Shane come up and say a couple words. I know he's brand new at this job, and he's got a couple of things to say to everybody in the community. Shane?
What's that? I know, I figured we could get a little break in there. Well, public speaking, the thing I love most about the job. First, I did practice this with my children. They said, "Dad, you're so serious in it." So I got to let you know that I'm not as serious as maybe this will come off. But thank you, Mayor, for allowing me a couple of minutes to talk about my history with the police department and my philosophy moving forward. As the mayor said, I'm Shane Casey, and I'm your chief of police. Many people have placed their trust and confidence in me, most notably the mayor and the distinguished board of trustees. It's a detail that's not easily lost on me, so thank you so much for your confidence. I wish I could say I got here on my own, but there were many people along the way that helped shape my career. I was hired in October of 1995 when then Chief Steve Atmanis took a chance on a 25-year-old college graduate. I spent the better part of the next 16 years working on the midnight shift, which is why many of you are probably saying, like, where'd this guy work before he became the chief? And so in those early years, I had a lot of mentors that shaped my career and my knowledge and career path, and I took every opportunity afforded me to grow as an officer. In August of 2006, I was promoted to patrol sergeant, and I took all that knowledge and experience that I had garnered over the years and applied it to supervising and mentoring the men and women that would then come on to be the police, that would be the police today, and still serve our community with distinction. Then 2013 came around. At the time, Chief Jeff Wold said, hey, I think your talents and your knowledge is better serving the village if you come to the day shift and see some sunlight. And he asked me to move into the front office and be an administrative sergeant. I wasn't sure if desk work was kind of a foreign creature to me, so I was a little leery, but Jeff assured me that I was the right person for the job. So then in September of that same year, Sergeant Adam Bogart and I were promoted to the rank of Deputy Chief by Jeff Wold. And for the next 5 years, I was humbled by the mentorship, training, and opportunities I was given. With the retirement of Jeff in December 2017, I was selected to be your next chief. It's an honor and a privilege to follow in the footsteps of such great men and leaders as Jeff Wold, Joe Pena, and Steve Atmanis. It's been over 22 years, and I've seen officers, employees, department heads, mayors, trustees, and chiefs come and go. But what has remained constant is a willingness and desire of those titles to serve the residents of this great community, a tradition that I will continue. My goal is to continue listening and working with the community to protect life, property, environment, to build on the trust and confidence of our residents have in us, to preserve the quality of life we enjoy here. And I want to plan for the trends and needs as the community grows and changes, and as I've repeated to my staff time and again, community first. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge my entire staff. We have the most dedicated and talented officers of any police department anywhere. My front office staff, Liz Murphy and Liz Costa, they are the police to the police, and they keep everything running smoothly within our four walls. A special thank you to Deputy Chief Adam Bogart, who is one of the most talented and dedicated employees I've had the pleasure to work with, and whom I've relied on very heavily during my transition to chief. I'd like to thank the community. We could not be as effective without their commitment and their support and approval of our police department's mission. Congratulations to the officers that will be acknowledged here today for their excellence in service by name, and to all the officers not mentioned today that serve with the same passion. Lastly, again, I'd like to thank the mayor for allowing me to come up here and talk, for her trust and confidence in me, and also the trustees' trust and confidence in me to be your chief of police and lead this department. So thank you, and God bless, and enjoy the rest of your day.
And in case that front office staff was lost on you, they're both named Liz, so it's a pretty safe bet when I call there. I go, hey, Liz, it's Missy. And I am pretty sure I got the right person. We have had two of our Channahon police officers, and this is a very proud distinction. Only two in the history of our department have attended the FBI Academy in Quantico. Deputy Chief Adam Bogart, who is here today, was one of those graduates, and Sergeant Gunty, who is not here today because he is there currently. He will be home next week. Very good. So we have the distinction of having two of our officers having been through the FBI Academy. We also have several life-saving officers who were involved in life-saving incidents in 2017. They ranged from Narcan to the Heimlich maneuver to AED saves. They are trained professionals and ultimately public servants, and they do a wonderful job at it. Sergeants Costel and Officer Potts also played a particularly important role in the apprehension of a suspect who was suspected of kidnapping, carjacking, and home invasion. And I believe Paul Potts was on the team that found him, correct? That located him? Both? Okay. Well, thank you. Officer Chappell is part of the Illinois Law Enforcement Alarm System, and he was dispatched to several events in 2017, including the Plainfield train derailment. And then I have to ask Christina. Christina has a personal story about our police department that she asked me if she could share today, and as I am always so proud of our department, I am happy to let her talk about it.
Thank you, Mayor. This past summer, my husband and I were on a motorcycle ride on Route 6. We hit a construction bump that ultimately caused us to crash. Unfortunately, I landed on a car in oncoming traffic, and my husband was in the middle of the road. So thanks to my helmet and the quick, calculated response of Channahon Police and the Channahon Fire District, our injuries did not become life-threatening. We all know that first responders are extensively trained in life-saving and first aid measures, but prior to that day, I had never been hurt, not severely. I'd never broken a bone or even had a stitch. So as I was bleeding, this was the first time I had witnessed first responders in action. 12 people reported to the scene to help my husband and I, and every one of them was trained to quote-unquote do their job, as I know they like to call it. But what is often overlooked is the emotional and mental well-being of the victims on the scene that first responders also have to address. As you can imagine, I was in a lot of pain, and I was very scared. I was worried about my husband, and I was too scared to look at my injuries. One of the first officers on scene was Officer John Blau. He read my fear, and he connected with me immediately. He began to hold my hand as I squeezed through the pain. He reassured me that my husband and I were going to be okay, and he distracted me a little bit with some humor. Thank God, I could probably use a little of that now. He stayed with me until they loaded me in the ambulance, and immediately after, medics Dirks and Jacomi took over comforting me as they continued to work on my injuries and rushed me to Morris Hospital. It's so much more than just treating your pain and your injuries when you're working with these first responders. So I wanted to share this today in hopes of expressing a small portion of my gratitude to Channahon Police and Fire, and I truly can't thank you enough for going above and beyond for this community.
Well, somewhere during the program, I usually end up crying myself, but, thank you, Christina, for, making me tear up and getting that out of the way. I appreciate it. And like I said, as always, I'm very proud of our first responders, our police department, and our fire department, because they are incredibly well-trained professionals and do a wonderful job for our community. Lots of stuff here. You don't need me to read the list for you. I can tell you about this. Our overarching philosophy is community policing, and that means developing wonderful relationships with our residents, and we go through to great efforts to engage our residents. We have cadet program, CPA, women's self-defense class, national night out, and family reading night that's coming up tomorrow, and I know several of our officers are going. I'm going as well. The school is wonderful in inviting us in there to interact with our children and parents, and so many more things. Some of our officers this year, you actually came by it on your way down here. There was an apartment fire on Blackberry Lane. You saw the blue tarps as you turned onto Blackberry Lane. 3-year-old Aiden lived in one of those apartments, and lost all of his toys and all of his everything very shortly before the holidays. So our officers took it upon themselves to make Aiden's Christmas a good one. And back one, Nicole, sorry. Tiny little Aiden down there in the corner. You can see him with our police officers. We also are heavily involved in charitable organizations, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Will County Children's Advocacy, Men Who Cook. I'm particularly proud of this one because I sit on that board, and our police officers last year, 2 years ago, got second place, and this past year were first place winners at the Children's Advocacy in the Entree Division. And then they are also involved very heavily in St. Baldrick's for cancer research. DC Bogart is getting his head shaved actually this Saturday, 6:30 to 9:30 at Skateland. And there you go. So if you want to see Adam's head shaved, come on out. I do. Thank you. Our very last thing we have here today then is our William Kennedy Award for Police Officer of the Year. Bill and I served on the fire department together years and years ago. He was a police officer, a police commissioner, and he embodied what it means to be a public servant. It was not just a job to Bill. It was more of a mindset, and more importantly, a heart set and an attitude. Bill was there as a friend, a colleague, and a mentor to so many public servants. So we named our Police Officer of the Year award after him. And I am happy to say that our 2018 William Kennedy Award for Police Officer of the Year goes to Officer Dustin Carlson, who is also our K-9 officer. Dustin volunteered for that extra responsibility when the K-9 was offered to us a couple of years ago, and he went and has extensively and continues to train with our K-9 officer, Hutch. Dustin, when I talk about the village being a family, Dustin is the embodiment of that because his wife, Trish, is a 911 dispatcher with Westcom, and his mother-in-law, Jean, is our front office receptionist. So really, truly family among the Carlsons. Some of the reasons that Dustin was nominated, I'm just going to read them off to you. He received a letter of commendation for his work as an evidence tech on a January 2017 death scene. He got a certificate of commendation from Will County Forest Preserve Police in 2017 for assisting in the apprehension of an aggravated battery to a police officer suspect. He also received a letter of appreciation from Alliance Against Intoxicated Motorists for his DUI enforcement efforts, and a letter of commendation for assisting Shorewood Police in utilizing Hutch in the recovery of a loaded weapon discarded by a fleeing felon. He also assisted Minooka Police with Hutch in the recovery of 181 Xanax pills. So at this time, I would like to welcome and congratulate Officer Dustin Carlson, our 2018 William Kennedy Officer of the Year. His hands are sweaty. You have to stay for photos afterwards, but if there's anything you'd like to say, by all means, the floor is yours. I'm gonna
I
trip
do.
over this.
I even got my Oscar speech here, so cue the music when I need to get off the stage a little bit.
Is there a jet ski if you keep it short?
It is.
Okay.
As I've told everybody, this is actually the Hutch of the Year award. I'm just here as a chauffeur and to bring him along and accept the award on his behalf here. So left him in the car. I wanted some attention, some spotlight on myself for once. So he's out there. We could go and see him afterwards. There are several people I want to thank, though. First and foremost, Mayor Missey, Chantel Host, our trustee. They kind of brought this idea of having a K-9 unit a reality in pretty short order here. So bring it to the village, bring that to the village board and having all their support to bring this on. Will County State's Attorney James Glasgow, he provided the funds to bring Hutch to our village and to also provide a lot of the equipment that we needed for myself, for the dog, and for our squad cars. Internally, Deputy Chief Bogart, me and him worked hand in hand, establishing the K-9 unit each step of the way. He listened to my input and trusted me with making some decisions along the way. It was really the blind leading the blind. We had no idea what we were doing, but as each day came, we kind of figured it out piece by piece. Chief Fold, before he left, was an integral part in supporting that, and now Chief Casey. He's got a true love for Hutch. He constantly asks to see Hutch when our schedules rarely overlap from day shift to night shift. And he's always trying to steal Hutch's ball from him. Never succeeds, though. So, just a few businesses in town. Mallard Point Vet Clinic, Feed Loft, and Puppy Cuts. They all make donations. Feed Loft donates his food for life. Mallard Point donates his medical care. So, very cost-effective to our police department and to the village as well. Along the way, we've had several donations and fundraisers. Since the Police Academy alumni, our cadets, have all made donations, fundraisers to support us as well. Helping support my shift mates. Officer Blau back there is passionate about Hutch as well. Help get me deployments on the streets and making them worth his keep here. More importantly, letting Hutch get his hair and his slobber on all of us throughout our shifts. Often gets pretty gross, but they deal with it and take it day by day. Support from my wife. This is a goal and a dream of mine. She allowed me to take on this role and having the crazy idea of adding a third dog to our family. Full house with a lot of hair. So, and then finally, just thanks to all you guys for the support. Hutch is here. If you guys want to see him afterwards, got him out in the car outside. He will get you full of hair, so we do have a lint brush as well. But thank you for all your support, and we'll be out there whenever you guys want to come visit us. So.
I've been pretty certain I'm going to trip over this wire, and I haven't done it yet, so let's see if I can get through the last couple of minutes here. I would be remiss if I didn't thank our police department volunteers. They are true community partners, and they volunteer their service. And that just shows their care for not only our police department, but our community as a whole. Chaplain Ben Ingleson, our police department chaplain, our adjudicator, Tina Zugel, who is in the back there, our commissioners, our pension trustees, and our CPA alumni. They are all an integral part of our police department and our community policing efforts. And we are blessed with amazing community partners. Channahon our fire departments, Channahon and Minooka Fire Department, we play integral parts together in, as I said, Minooka. We and Minooka in particular are so intertwined. We share fire departments and school districts, and our police and fire often work together. I was at a FEMA conference last year in April, and one of the things that I came away with, it was about major events. And one of the things that I came away with and that I asked for when we came back was for our police and fire to cross-train together so that if there was an event going on in a building, the police department could get the fire, the EMS people, the first responders, medical personnel in there as quickly as possible. And they have followed through on that, and I appreciate that very much. Our fire department has trained with our police department in entering warm zones. So those are important things, and it's unfortunate the world we live in sometimes that we have to prepare for those things, but I would much rather be prepared than be unprepared. I can't thank our school districts enough. We have several of them, as you see, again, intertwined with all of our areas. There's nothing we do that doesn't affect everyone around us, and I truly believe that and why we need to take a regional approach to so many things. As you can see, I have high school districts, and, well, JJC, you're all down there by yourself, Judy. You're the only junior college district. But I have grade school districts and high school districts in multiple townships, so I appreciate all of them. Our many other community partners, I don't need to read all of these off, our library districts, especially Three Rivers Library, who works so closely with us, our multiple townships. As I said, Channahon Township shares equipment with us, and that allows us cost savings and to better serve our residents, our many fire protection districts that we deal with, and especially Channahon Park District. I don't know if they have representatives here today. We share a very close relationship with Channahon Park District, and we partner on many, many events, so we appreciate them a great deal. Looking forward, I know what my vision is. My vision is to have controlled growth, to keep this a place where you want to raise your family, and it's a good place to be. I don't want to be so overwhelmed with any sort of development, whether it's residential or industrial, that this becomes an unlivable place. That is my vision. It is a big picture vision. And when I go to the schools, and I spend a lot of time in the schools, because like I said, I think it's important to get young people involved, what I tell them is that my job, they ask me what my job is, and my job is to make this a great place for you to grow up and to raise your own family someday. And that's my goal. So our staff plays a fundamental role in getting us there, and seeing my vision in that big picture and coming up with an implementation plan. So I thank them all for that, and I also thank our Board of Trustees for their recognition of our common goals and recognition of the needs of this community. So I am fortunate to be mayor at a bright time for Channahon, and I am grateful for this opportunity. So last but not least, I want to thank you all for attending. I hope you enjoyed your breakfast and the presentation. I know the breakfast was good. Thank you again to Nicole Norris for putting all of this together and being my technical advisor. And once again, thanks to Max Country Market for donating the centerpieces. Argue amongst yourselves about your birthdays. And then Nicole's just got a couple of more slides with some of our fun photos. Thank you all very much for coming out here again this year. I appreciate your attendance and your support in our continuing efforts. Have a wonderful day.